it's Chronic Blaze here, and welcome back to another video. And this video is probably going to be different than any other video I have done on my channel ever. I'm building a PC. So I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. The main reason is because I want to take up recording level a bit. Right now videos are all at 720p 60. However, I'm looking to move that to 1080p 60 and remove the stuttering issue from my live stream. So, and of course, I'll be doing a little bit of gaming on this PC too. So today for the build, I'm joined by Martian24. So how are you today?
Hello, I'm good.
So for our processor, we're using the Ryzen 5 3400G. So this processor has integrated Vega 11 graphics, which I will be using for a little bit when making this build. Now I'm doing this for a couple reasons, mainly for upgradability. Next up, we have our SSD. We're going to be using a WD Blue 500GB SSD. This should be more than enough for most of my stuff. And in the future, I'll probably install an internal hard drive in my computer. Next up, we have our RAM. So for the RAM, we're using 16GB of 3200 MHz Corsair Vengeance LPX memory. Now this is a pretty solid memory kit, and I'm actually pretty excited to see how this will perform. Next up, we have our motherboard. So this is the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard, and from what I've heard, this is actually a pretty good budget micro ATX board. Next up, we have our case. So I have no clue what this case is, but I had it laying around, and it's kind of like an old retro-looking gaming case, so that's what we're going to be using. And last up, we have our power supply. So this is the Corsair AX760. Wild overkill, but that's fine. So the first part that we're going to be installing is our Ryzen 5 3400G. Now, helpfully included is a little Ryzen sticker if you want to show off how big of an AMD fan you are, which I'll probably put on my PC, and most importantly, the 3400G. We also do have a nice AMD cooler in the box.
So you just kind of like plop it in. Don't force it, just kind of like drop it.
That's not in.
Yeah, close it.
That's the least satisfying sound ever. That was so nerve-wracking, but
It's in.
we're good. There we go. CPU is installed. So the next part we're going to be installing is the RAM. So since this one's a little bit more straightforward, we can each do one if you want.
Sure.
It is pretty much as simple as just, okay, I think this might be backwards, but we'll see. No, I think it's fine. And then we just push it till it clicks. Is it open? Or is it the wrong way?
There you go.
There we go. That's one. There we go, that's 2 sticks of RAM. Next up is our SSD. So I've actually never done an SSD before, so I'm gonna kind of wing this. So now, all that's left is to screw in our SSD. Okay, we're good. So before we install the CPU cooler, which my first look at the cooler, it's a pretty nice cooler. I mean, it's just the stock one that comes with. This should be more than enough power for what I need to do. We actually have to unscrew these two brackets on the case here. So now, it's time to figure out how to do this. So how do you do this?
You have to line it up.
Yeah, I know that much.
Bro.
Of course I have to line it up. Here, let's see. Wait, hold on. I think we were putting in the cooler sideways. Here, hold on. Don't put it in.
Yeah.
You have it the wrong way still.
No, well, because it's like it's like a rectangle, right? It only fits like that. Like,
Wait,
look
what?
At the screws.
Wait, that's weird. So, now we gotta put this in. So, just a matter of lining it up and then kind of resting it on.
Yeah.
So it was on the left side, so near the ports. So let's put it like this. So we just need to screw it in, right? So here, as you can see, we have our case. So this is kind of a bit of an older case. I actually had it laying around, and I decided to use it because, well, it's a cool looking case. Now, we did have a problem in that there was actually a little bit of a metal bar right here. So we actually ended up just cutting that off and just put electrical tape on it because it was really sharp. But other than that, you can see there was actually some old stuff. I actually put in a different DVD drive, just one that I had laying around because it was black. Same with a different floppy drive. You can see this was originally a Pentium 4. There's whatever this is. The weird thing about this case, though, is the setup of the drive bay that's right here. I wanted to take this out, but I couldn't. And we actually had to disconnect all our ports from the front of the motherboard as well. So, as you know, we're using the Corsair AX760, which with our slight adjustments to the case, we were actually able to get to fit in. So, because this case doesn't have a top vent, we're going to do the fan facing down, and all we have to do is line it up like that. And now, we have a power supply installed. So, the quote-unquote fun part about this case is that it has a slide-out motherboard tray. And one of the things was deformed on it, so we actually had to quickly bend it out. But now, we should be able to install our motherboard. So I'm just going to use the bottom 2 slot. Oh, it's not locked in. So now, after all that, we have our motherboard installed. Now, it's nice. I don't even know if this would actually support a full-size ATX motherboard. I'm assuming it would. But now, it's time for cable management. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll actually get to the games. So now the PC is just about done, so I've plugged in a couple cables to our power supply. The thing with this build is I actually didn't have to plug in too many cables, which makes me really skeptical if this thing's gonna turn on or not. Okay, moment of truth. Will this thing actually turn on? Fans are spinning. Oh, there we go. We got something. Man, I did not expect that to work first try. So, a couple more things I have to fix. So, one thing, this case does have some RGB. However, I think I hooked up the wrong connector. So, I'm just going to be doing a couple things, polishing up that. And there was also something which I did not include earlier. This blue fluorescent light we're going to be putting in the PC. But it works! Man, I did not expect this PC to boot first try. We have everything showing up. It shows 16 gigs of RAM. We can overclock with this, so that is exactly what we want to do at some point. So, I'm going to give it a couple weeks, and I'm going to install some games, do a bit of cable management, get some more stuff hooked up with this PC, and then we're going to get into the games. So, a couple weeks and a little bit of setup later, we finally have the PC complete. I'm actually very happy with how everything's turned out. So, if you can see in the computer, I made some little adjustments. So, I added a second fan that Terrarian21 gave me. And other than that, the blue light actually looks really good in here. And so, I mean, the cable management, it's decent. I mean, there's some areas, especially kind of up here, where it's not the best. I actually could not get into the back of this case, so that's why the cable management was not as good. Now, I also did install some more PCI covers, so I was able to install those since I actually don't have a GPU in this thing yet. And the PC is pushing a signal to our monitor, which is the Samsung SyncMaster BX2240. So I featured this in a video before, and it's a pretty solid 22-inch monitor. We're not going to be getting too much into the setup, though, because I'll have a whole other video where I'm going to be building the setup. But what I'm curious about is to see how this PC performs. First up, we have Minecraft. So as you can see right now, we have 30 frames. It's pretty easy to get 60 FPS when we get into some quieter areas. So basically, I believe that this is fully dependent on the monitor. So as you can see here, now we're at a full 60 FPS, and it looks very solid, basically running everything all the way up and at 16 chunks. I feel like Minecraft is a game that a lot of people want to play on a computer like this, and it also, you know, it also shows that, I guess, this PC can run Minecraft. So the RAM in this PC has only been set to 2933 MHz as opposed to the full 3200. And the reason for that is because I don't know if the 3200 will work with the Ryzen 5 processor that we have. For this reason, I just decided to go with the 2933, and it's running pretty solid. I did take a couple benchmarks at 2133 off camera, and Minecraft had very similar results to this. Next up, we have Rocket League, and given that my channel is a Rocket League channel, I figured this is the one a lot of you probably want to see. So just here in free play, we're actually getting a pretty solid lock on 60 FPS. It is dipping here and there, but it's not bad. Hop into a doubles match, and we're getting very similar performance. It was a little stuttery at first. Yeah, just turning down the render detail, the quality. So we're basically at a mix of high and medium settings at 1080p, and we're getting a very solid lock on 60 frames. So definitely not bad. I've definitely seen Rocket League run worse. Next up, we have Simple Planes. So this is actually a game that's perfect for a system like this. And here, even on full max settings with one of the best planes, we're getting pretty much a solid lock on 60 FPS. This is one of the games that I'm really happy that it actually works incredibly well on this computer, because this is one of the games that I can't even play on my Xbox.
And last up, we have Super Meat Boy. Now, since this is a pretty light game, it's no surprise that we're getting 60 frames pretty much all the time. So what is my final review of this computer? Well, this is actually a really solid budget build. Not only can the Vega graphics handle a lot, but the processor is actually really solid. It makes a lot of CPU-based games look really good. I am kind of surprised with the lower performance of Rocket League and Minecraft. These games are typically easier to run, so I'm pretty surprised that Goat Simulator actually ended up performing better than them. But let me know what you think about my computer in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss one of my videos. That's all for this video, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.